And welcome back to our fourth Kiribati video for hitting 1,024 subscribers, which is a very weird thought, but I guess that's what happens when you make a viral video. Thing is though, I'm not even in the video. I just took 8 other people's videos, chopped them together into a salad, and added 3 zooms. Are you all subscribing for my editing skills? Cause you're in for some major disappointment. So, this is a comment response video. Basic format is as follows. I'll respond to some comments, acknowledge some mistakes I've made, and recommend some channels while I'm at it. However, this time will be a little bit different. I'll be tacking some extra stuff at the end, and it involves you. So if that's cryptically tempting enough to stick it out for the whole video, then buckle in, because we're gonna get started. Now, obviously, the big subscriber rush is almost entirely thanks to the Verge compilation video I made, so let's kick it off with a round of comments specifically responding to that. Our first comment is from Alexi Rivera Technoclast, who actually appeared in the video. He says, "Thanks for including me in your compilation. Had some good laughs watching it all again." Well, thank you for making your original video. Tipster, who was also in the video, also appears in the comments. He said, "Hey, that's me." Yes, that is you. That's not even the only video of mine you appear in. You're also in Acknowledge Your Failure Part 3, I believe. Looney said, 1 million views. Congrats, and this compilation will serve perfectly for my first ever PC build as to the exact opposite of what to do. Awesome. Well, that was kind of the point of me putting all the different videos together. I felt like I was learning stuff watching these reactions. I mean, for the most part, reaction videos don't really teach you anything, but this one did, so that's what I found interesting about it. Internet Recluse said, "Insulating pads. God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are typing." Litigation Jackson said, "I feel attacked by those comments about cable management." This comment I understand. If there's anything like really nitpicky in that whole video, apart from using the wrong words to describe the different parts of the computer, it would be the cable management. I mean, as long as you're not contacting parts that could cause a shortage, the whole aspect of like make sure your cables are all nice and tiny so it doesn't impact airflow, I mean, that's not such a big deal. But a big part of the criticism for the build is just in terms of long-term efficiency. You're not just building a computer that lasts a week, you're building a computer that ostensibly will last as long as you need it. Techman said, "The Verge made a new video. It's called How to Fuck Up a Blowjob at a Cocksuckers Convention." Yeah, I can see that. I mean, they're regular attendance at cocksuckers conventions.
This is the biggest event ever hosted by a gay organization at a Republican convention.
McRobin AMTV1 said, "I stopped reading The Verge when they went apeshit over that scientist shirt." Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Let's take a look at what that was real quick.
Last but certainly not least for our lineup is Matthew Taylor. Matt, how is this maybe it's too early to really say how the science is comparing with that from the Rosetta orbiter, but perhaps you'd like to give us a bit of an overview of how it's going to compare with the data that we collect from the orbiter.
Okay, the shirt I wore this week, I made a big mistake and I've offended many people, and I'm very sorry about this.
Fucking peak journalism right there. And our next comment by Chicken Burger, wonderful name by the way, is, "I love the stereotypical Asian." Bitwit Lyle, who did the mock Chinese accent, some people said Vietnamese accent, was by far the most divisive part of the video. I got a ton of comments saying that he was the most hilarious guy in the video. More people were in the comments asking what his channel name was than any other person in that compilation. So evidently a lot of people loved the character. However, we also got a ton of people who were very, Bitwit Lyle guy's so goddamn irritating, or why is he putting on the racist accent? What's interesting is I actually was having a conversation with a coworker just like a couple weeks ago, and they were telling me that when they were in drama club in school, they could impersonate any nationality, any ethnicity they wanted, full green light, African stereotype, Jewish stereotype, redneck stereotype, you name it. They could go all out. However, their drama club put a hard stop on Asian impersonations. Why? Why draw the fucking line there? Why is that the special untouchable field of people you can mock or impersonate? That's bullshit. That's not fair. Alright, let's move on to our more general comments. I_nothing said, you have a mental problem. Maybe, but it's not a punctuation problem. God himself said, you're a legend, dude. Can I suck your toes real quick? I'm not really into that, so I'm gonna have to pass. Sorry. Dr. Hobo, in response to my first Shoe on Head video, said, 2019 Guide to Becoming a Pariah. Yeah, basically. Villanilla, in response to the same video, said, despite me disagreeing with the overarching intent and points in this video, you are a very interesting person and I do enjoy your content. Subbed. Thanks, Villanilla, and I see you've stuck around. Thank you very much. Banshee617 said, I can't wait for you to end up in a Mr. Medicare video. That would be unfortunate, because I can only imagine that that would be one of Mr. Medicare's bad videos. I mean, I like Mr. Medicare's, like, general breakdown videos, but every so often he'll, like, catch on to something, and he will refuse to let it go. Like, the whole Kraut thing, he refused to drop. The whole Sargon thing, he refused to drop. I mean, he's just got this bad habit of, where there's smoke, there's fire, that sort of thing. I mean, I think he's more or less said that himself in one of his videos. So I may be a tempting target for a Mr. Medicare video, but you're not gonna get a fucking Ross series out of me, that's for sure. And speaking of Ross, I actually had him try to join my Discord server recently. Banned him immediately.
Dude, I think OmniZoa is so fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he just banned you.
It's because of my violent outbursts, maybe, online.
Maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure.
Dean Rodman said, dem spicy omni abs. Ah, I see you are a man of culture as well. Ellen Pellin 08 said, stop giving yourself a fake six-pack. I love this comment. Like, I don't know that they've made any other sort of substantive comments other than this. It's that they saw my comment response video, and of all the things they could have complained about, they hate that I, quote, gave myself a fake six-pack. Dumps Vile said, is this a joke video? And I said, is this a vacuous comment? He said, F you. Tempest, on my original Shoe on Head video, said, I came here from Shoe on Head, and I can see you're a much smaller channel getting hate-bombed by thousands of people who probably haven't even watched your entire video. I'm going to watch your response all the way through and then give my opinion, but I'm going to treat you with the same respect I'd give to anyone else. I don't agree with Shoe on everything, but don't be discouraged by people who don't take the time to see what you're actually trying to say. I'm sorry that you're probably getting more flack than you deserve, man. Well, what's interesting about this is Tempest actually commented again recently, and he said, I commented on one of your videos back at the time that Shu first mentioned you in one of her videos. I'm really glad I heard you out. For what it's worth, I ended up unsubscribing from her channel over that, and a few other things that she did. I'm sorry you didn't get the time of day to make the point that you initially wanted to make, because so many people didn't actually listen to you. Well, you listened, Tempest, and that's more than enough for me. Thank you. Jules Roy said, sorry dude for the result of your video, but it was to be expected when confronting a big YouTuber. It's quite sad you do your best to put up good arguments, but the public will never hear you out because of the thing you're defending, which is too scary for them to think about. I know the law isn't the absolute truth. The proof is that it's different depending on country, and it keeps changing over time. Women vote, gay marriage, etc. Still, I can't stop myself from thinking that map people have a condition, and I feel sorry for them. It's more than the law that we are talking about. It's about common sense. The fact that you are rational is as incredible as it is frightening. First, it means you're not as crazy as you look, and then that you can understand others' emotions. And I advise you to reflect on why people disliked your video, beyond the fact that they're idiots. You're not dumb, so try to show it to the public. Sorry for the long comment, hope you will read it. You're receiving a lot of hate while you probably didn't commit any crime. I think that's rash, but it's YouTube, so. One more thing, stop insulting people in the comment section. That will never prove your point. And no one watched a 30 minutes video, so you'd better stop doing that too. I bet 90% of dislikes didn't watch 10 seconds of it. Well, you are right insofar that most people who watched the video didn't watch most of the video. You're right about that. but I'm not gonna stop making 30-minute videos. And no, I'm not gonna stop insulting people. If they deserve an insult, I'm gonna fucking insult them. You think I'm insulting people to prove a point?
That's not how this works.
Soy Latte said, "Pedo, come to England. We have great bars. A lot of people would love for you to visit. We'll make you guest of honor." I think you'd be disappointed with my criminal record, if it existed, that is. I actually clicked on this guy's name and looked at his YouTube page, and he's actually got his subscriptions visible. And I said, "Oh, look at that. You're subbed to Your Movie Sucks. Maybe you should rewatch his Nymphomaniac review, because according to your logic, he's a pedophile too." Which is another point I've been wanting to make so bad. So Your Movie Sucks, in one of his reviews, says this.
And at this point, he doesn't even try to pretend the characters are having real conversations with each other. Now he's just using Charlotte Gainsbourg to channel through her and lecture us as audience members about his idealisms.
The paedophile who manages to get through life with the shame of his desire while never acting on it deserves a bloody medal.
Like, great, it's obvious that you're on the right side of certain social issues. Good for you, but that doesn't make this any less poorly written.
I mean, is there some confusion as to what he meant there? Did that video get mass downvoted? Did he get Shoe on Head ripping into him? No, in fact, he and Shoe get along quite well. And remember, this is the same guy.
The true test of this game will be if there is a small child I can kill. I suck your dick. I'm dick height.
I love little boys.
I'm gonna rape ya.
I'm not trying to throw any shade on Your Movie Sucks. I love his stuff, but the fucking hypocrisy here is goddamn insulting. PBS, also on my Shoe on Head video, made a very long comment. I'm not gonna read all of it, because it's more or less reiterating the same old story of, oh, well, I watched Shoe's video, it kind of made sense to me, but then I saw your response, and then I realized I was mistaken, blah, blah, blah. At the end it says, "This guy isn't a pedo or a predator, so I don't think telling him to go die is all that called for. His arguments have prompted me to change my mind about MAPs. Less important, but this guy is also actually really funny, which I didn't expect. Though it is in a slightly scary, angry sort of way, lol no hate. Anyways, you've earned a sub, Omni. I may not have agreed with everything you said in this video."
What do you mean you don't agree with me? Do you know who you're dealing with?
But I think I understand your point of view on the topics I wasn't quite swayed on. I'll go check out your other videos. Thanks, PBS. I included this series of comments by Gigavolts, really for no other reason than to just give you a nice little tidy example of what will get you shadow banned on my channel. If you go across all my topically unrelated videos and do nothing but slander me, then yeah, I'm gonna fucking shadow ban you off my channel. And to our last comment is a comment by None of Your Business, which I believe was posted underneath the Morality is Subjective Debunked video. And it said, "I watched the video again, and I realized that I missed key parts and completely misunderstood your arguments. I saw Harris and jumped to conclusions about your views. Sorry for being such a dum-dum. P.S. Love your channel." I think I opened into him pretty hard, and for this person not to get hyper defensive and instead actually say they rewatched the video, admit that they made a mistake, I mean, good on you, dude, and I'm glad you like the channel. On the topic of mistakes, though, I have a few sins to confess. Firstly, let's talk about the Verge compilation video, because I made a mistake in that one. Sienna Gears says,
"That's only going to read 8 gigs. That's not going to read 16.
This guy is wrong. It will read full amounts. Just force the memory sticks to wait in turns for each other every time data is accessed. Who is this guy that he thinks he's better than the Verge? Which is honestly a remarkably low bar, and manages to correct them incorrectly. A fair number of people in the comments were ragging on Taco Fist really hard for that point he made, where they're like, "You are no better than the Verge." It's not just his mistake for saying it in the video, it's also my mistake for including it in the compilation, because part of the editing process was clipping out some of the mistakes these guys were making. And some of them did make mistakes. Not a big deal, okay? But especially when it comes to Taco Fist, to think that, like, he's, like, the worst one of the 8, I think is fucking ludicrous. To be clear, he doesn't run a tech channel. He runs a gaming channel. And from what I saw, as someone who had to go through all 8 of those videos in their entirety in order to get the clips I wanted, it's my opinion that Taco Fist identified more issues faster than any of the other 7 guys. So to say that he's no better than the Verge is super fucking unfair, especially when it's just one of several things he says in the video. This guy's a douche said, "You said the N-word, it's Niga Higa." So people have multiple times tried to correct my pronunciation of the Niga Higa YouTube channel. Well, I'd like to say, if it's pronounced Niga Higa, it should be spelt Niga Higa. But I'm gonna keep calling him Nigga Higa because it sounds more gangster that way. And Nigga Higa encourages me to be gangster. Yeah. Metal Material, in response to my political dichotomy video, said, "I know this is nitpicking, and the rest of the video is fine, but like Aristotle and the 4th century are over 600 years apart. In the 4th century, Aristotle wrote of politics. What I should have said was 4th century BC, so it's a very simple mistake to make, but not adding BC makes it sound like I'm talking about a completely different time period, and I'm surprised it's taken this long for someone to correct me on that. Good catch. There are also a couple mistakes I noticed in my political compass video. At one point, I say that I am 10 points away from Democrat. I was only 10 points away from being a Democrat, when in actuality, I was only 5% away from Democrat. Another mistake I made in that video was on one of the Nolan charts, I believe. I also retook this quiz, and I also moved closer to the center. I said I was moving closer to the center, when it would probably be more accurate to say that I was moving more libertarian. Alright, and now it's time to get into channel recommendations. I have some interesting ones for you. So, as always, I'm going to recommend 3 channels bigger than mine and 3 channels smaller than mine. Bigger channel, starting with Matt Christensen. Matt Christensen used to be a Call of Duty channel. However, he's completely changed his channel into doing political commentary, and I love his approach to it. He's very incisive with his points, he's very calm, he does his research, he sounds empathetic. He's the sort of person I wish everyone was when they're debating politics. Big recommendation for me.
Twitter doesn't have an obligation to host, but that's not the issue of controversy here. The issue is the hypocrisy and the contradiction of saying that you stand for free and fair elections, that your platform will do everything it can to uphold them, all the while you are banning candidates running for office in those elections. And more ironic still, this is a cure that is far worse than the disease. This all fits in the context of fear about foreign election meddling, that Russian trolls somehow stole the 2016 presidential election illegitimately, and in ironically hilarious overcorrection for that fear, Twitter executives have now become foreign election meddlers.
Second channel I recommend would be Donut Operator. Donut Operator is a former cop and current gamer who runs a YouTube channel mostly dedicated to talking about police issues. He gives the other side of the story. Whenever there's like a narrative against police that's currently going on, he usually has a video to knock it down or bring out the details, because you know when that shit goes viral on Twitter, they're clipping out context.
People don't like context because context bad, just like Blue Man. Blue Man bad.
What's going on today? All right. What are your names?
What's the reasoning?
All right. So we got a contact that keep your hands out of your pockets.
Oh,
sorry. Possible assault that occurred.
Oh, I didn't touch him.
I may not be a police officer anymore, but I can tell that that's a clue.
Oh, I didn't touch him.
What does this tell the sergeant right here? That these are definitely the guys involved, and one of them probably has a gun.
So we got a report of 2 people, similar descriptions, possibly having a gun, all right? So don't reach for your waist. We're gonna just check and make sure that you don't have a weapon, all right?
Did y'all catch that? His body language just gave up Divine right there. As soon as he takes off, he starts reaching for his waistband. That's when the 2 officers open fire, and collectively they fire 8 shots.
Hands up! Hands up! Hands up!
Was this a lawful shooting? As per Colorado state law and the United States Supreme Court, yes it was.
And my last big channel recommendation is going to be Jim Browning. Jim Browning is basically an internet hero. Let me put it to you this way. So you know all those cold calls you get from automated voice message systems saying like, oh, this is card holder services telling you that your card's about to expire, or your identity has been stolen, or this is Windows tech support. And almost invariably you're talking to some dude on a completely different continent trying to gain access to your computer so they can scam you for thousands of dollars. But little does that scammer know that secretly Jim Browning's already on their computer.
बैंक का स्कैम उसको पता है. उसके साथ लास्ट टाइम कुछ हुआ था उसका कोई कलीग के साथ.
Having locked her out of her computer, they begin to
Because the
delete her
reason,
documents.
when we took our softwares from your computer, our softwares was protecting your all the documents that you do have, but you told me that I don't want that money refund and whatever.
They're going to use her deleted documents as a bargaining chip to get money out of her. She has to watch helplessly as they start to delete all of her files, including all of her pictures. She's screaming at them to stop.
I do understand, ma'am, but just see that
I can't let this continue, so I kill their team viewer session.
all has been gone from your computer, madam.
But they haven't. All those files are in the recycle bin and can be restored.
Okay, what do you see on your computer screen? Tell me that.
The scammer hasn't realised that it's me who's killed this session.
Alright, I've now got 3 smaller channels to recommend to you, and incidentally, they're all vegan related. First one is going to have to be Veganism with a Z. And the reason I recommend this channel is they have uploads of almost every single installment of the Vegan Freak Radio podcast, which you may remember from this audio clip.
Coming to you from high atop their elite fortress of moral superiority. Here are your protein-deficient hosts, Bob and Jenna.
This is a podcast I actually started listening to very early on when I first went vegan. It's no longer in production. Their website's down. I don't even know what happened to the people who used to run the podcast. But this channel has uploaded virtually the entire series. So if you want to listen to a vegan podcast from an abolitionist perspective, check it out.
Do you treat people like adults or do you treat them like fucking children? Like, do you level with them up front? And you say, these are the things that you've got to deal with, right? These are the issues. If you're brave enough to hear them, here they are. Wrap your head around them. Be an adult. Don't bury your head in the sand. This is what's going on. I prefer, because I'm a rational adult, I prefer that people level with me. Tell me what's going on. I don't need you to wrap it in some kind of message that you think that I have to hear, because I can't hear the message that's true, or I can't hear the message that is as it is.
Right. Second channel I recommend would have to be Age of Age. Age doesn't have all that much content on her channel, but her response videos are on point. And it's very refreshing to hear those arguments get made with such an emphasis on logical coherence.
Just off the bat, I would like to say that I don't believe that there will ever be a unanimous decision across the board in the world as to what is the correct way to live. Woo! Let's just get deep here.
Deepness. Sometimes your shallowness is so thorough, it's almost like depth.
Thanks! The fact that people around the globe have different attitudes about diet and lifestyle doesn't actually legitimate all those differing perspectives. Do you think the lack of unanimous agreement on the Earth's shape renders the scientific consensus on the matter moot? Would you say that you can't know with any certainty if the royal family are lizards or not because people hold differing opinions about the reptilian origins of the royal bloodline? There are some opinions and perspectives that are simply wrong and not even worth entertaining. I don't think you mean any harm by hopping on the cultural relativist bandwagon, but the result of doing so can lead us to turn a blind eye to clear and obvious rights violations in the human context, not to mention the animal context.
Third channel I recommend is pretty straightforward. It's Vegan Debate Archive. Basically, a year ago, the YouTube channel Ask Yourself put out an open challenge to quote-unquote skeptics to debate veganism, and a lot of debates were had, and this channel saved a lot of them. So if that sounds up your alley, you can expect such shit shows as this.
You need to prove why meat is immoral.
Well, your premise is interesting because basically you're making an appeal to social contract. We already do it, and we, generally in society, we wouldn't consider somebody immoral if they're eating meat. This is just an appeal to social contract. You're not breaking any social contracts with anyone by eating meat, so therefore it's ethical. Well, if you're going to appeal to social contract, then you could use that same thing to justify slavery. If we lived in a society...
Wow, you brought up slavery quick, man. Are we 2 minutes in?
Well, it's a completely valid argument. If you're going to appeal to social contract...
Not. Slavery is not equal to eating meat.
That's besides the point. It's not...
You compared it to eating
equivalent.
meat, then it's...
No, I didn't... No, I didn't compare it to eating meat. I'm just using it to demonstrate how you're being logically inconsistent.
No, it's not. Just because slavery was...
Alright, so we're at the end of the video, however I have two last things to cover. So I said to myself that if I ever reach 1,000 subscribers, which is currently what YouTube requires for you to be able to accept super chats, I would make a video shilling my Patreon. I'd like to emphasize very clearly, I don't monetize my videos.
Turn off that pesky ad block. Turn off that pesky ad block. Turn off that pesky ad block.
I don't take sponsorships.
Random Ass VPN specializes in inserting their ad reads into every somewhat decent video they can find.
And I don't ask you to like, and I don't ask you to subscribe.
Hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Buy my merch. Become a patron today. Outro.
I hate that shit. I don't want to do that shit. I don't have to do that shit, so I'm not gonna do that shit. The only ads you will ever see on any of my videos are from copyright claims, most of which I try to avoid or I will fight. So even though I have a Google AdSense account, I don't get jack shit from it. I want these videos to be free. I want you to enjoy them for free. I want you to mock them for free. I want you to remix, do whatever the fuck you want with them for free. I don't give a shit. I have a real job, which I do, apart from this. I run this channel as a hobby. But apparently people like what I'm doing enough to donate to it. I mean, it's telling that I don't even have to make a video talking about this sort of thing to have people want to help me do what I'm doing, which I think is really cool. So this section of the video is just going to cover different ways you can support the channel. Number one way is Patreon. Patreon has a single $1 tier, just a tip jar. I understand a lot of people don't like Patreon, and for good reason, it seems to me. So I also have a subscribe star page. Another way you can donate to me is through super chats. So whenever I stream on YouTube, you can directly donate to me in the form of a super chat. I have had people ask me about merchandise. I think merchandise is really cringy, to be perfectly honest. At least insofar as it's like, ooh, the YouTuber. I don't want any sort of merchandise about me. That seems so egotistical to me. I'm not interested in it. People like my character, but my character isn't even meant to represent my channel. It just incidentally represents my channel because that's the avatar I use. So if I were to ever put out any sort of merchandise for my channel, I would think it would be more like certain quotes or something like that. People have also asked if they could send me stuff. Now, I obviously don't want to give out personal information. However, there are proxy mailing services.
Can we talk about rainbows for a minute? I really don't like how rainbows have been taken by the gays. Or me, as in other words. I want to be able to use rainbows on fucking anything. But now every time a rainbow pattern or color set is used, the automatic association is, well, that's fucking gay.
I think that's something I would really only ultimately invest in if the demand was high enough. Maybe that's something we do later down the line, but currently I'm not accepting packages. Now, beyond like financially supporting the channel, there's obviously other ways you can support the channel, and I would say that there's two main ways, and one is obviously the most easiest one, which is just sharing my videos. If you have a friend who you think might get a kick out of something I made, there you go, easy peasy. However, I love artwork. If you guys want to make artwork for the channel, or if you want to redraw any of my characters, or if you guys want to make memes, I collect that stuff. I will throw that shit into like videos. And those are just a few ways you can help me do what I'm already doing. Of course, if you don't want to do any of that, that's perfectly fine too. I'm just gonna keep on rolling. And now I have one last thing to talk about, and that is to invite you to participate in my next video, because as you might know, this is a Kiriban for 1,024 subscribers. However, we have already bypassed the next milestone, which is 2,048 subscribers. So there's going to be a part 2 to this, but instead of responding to comments, I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So if you want to ask any questions, and you want those questions to appear in a video, go to the Discord server, which you can find linked in the description, complete the CAPTCHA, and it will unlock the rest of the server for you. Find the channel that says Question Me, and ask away. And your question may appear in my 5th Kiriban video, so looking forward to it. Already received a bunch of great and invasive questions already. I'll see you guys around. Have a good evening. Once again, and as always, bring an open mind, leave your taboos at the door because nothing is immune to criticism. Question everything. Thank you very much for listening.
Omni Zoa. I'm gonna make his character a girl. This is gonna be super hot. Tiny boobs. Why not? Fuck you. It's not gross. So he said that she is actually supposed to look kind of like racially ambiguous. Like Agony has to have like super angry sort of eyebrows. She has to be angry all the time. The nose smaller? Yeah, because she's anime, you're right. So she needs to have her like typical top. Oh, look at these. These are cute. Oh my god, look, this actually has like the rainbow version of that. She's not wearing heels, she's wearing boots. She has freckles. Oh, I love these. Look, they're like all over the body freckles. No, I'm not giving her booty. She's supposed to be androgynous. Okay, now we have to give her a personality. I think she's definitely a misanthrope. Misanthropic Sims have nothing but disdain and contempt towards their fellow Sims. She's gonna be straight edge. Yeah, because that's Omni. Because this is like some sort of weird Omni Agony person. Egghead, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking of that. It would be so funny if it just made him an egghead. I'll make her an egghead.